Had a couple of people ask me about how to make these pens. So I thought I'd just kind of show you what I do. Um, this is like the one I made the other day. It's just out of a piece of redwood 2x4. I literally stuck it down, put my knife on the top and tapped it with another piece of wood and put it down until it split. Made a little square piece about yay big, and then just started whittling away at it, with I'm not being super careful. You can probably see some of the detail there. I pretty much wanted to keep those shapes. This is a bit of the natural split part I thought was kind of cool, so I just left it there. Then I take a drill bit that's the right size and very carefully shoot it straight down through the end like this, and then I just keep rotating like this so that I make sure that I don't get it going sideways or crooked, because it's pretty easy to keep it lined up straight this way, and then I turn it a bit, keep it straight, turn it a bit, keep it straight. You can do that and get a pretty good hole. Now if you were really tricky, you'd have a drill press and you'd clamp it in there and get a perfect hole. But it doesn't really have to be that perfect. It just needs to fit your bit. So here's a piece of sheet brass. That's what I make this stuff out of. And this is 0.025 millimeter, just regular brass. You can get it from several places online where they sell these kind of materials. You got to be careful about the edges because they're sharp. So the same way that you would handle the lid on a can if you were opening up a can of soup or something, you just got to be careful with that cut edge. So I just decide how big the nib needs to be. If I'm going to make one like these others that I have here, I wanted to make another small one. So I want to make one like this, but instead of having the nib slip over the stick like I have, I want to put the nib inside the stick, in here like that. So, but the shape of it itself, I want it to be kind of like that. So if I'm looking at this little part of the metal here, I've got more than enough room to make that nib with this little piece here. And then I just need to decide how far this way I need to go with the part that is inserted. So this is how deep the hole is, and that's how far I need to go. You can tell it's an exact science here. So I'm going to cut it back to about there. All right, get out the old tin snips. Here, I'll put a little mark there so I can get to it. Okay. Just going to trim it back to there. Just regular old shears. These are, I don't even remember where I got them. They're old. The biggest thing about shears like this is you got to keep them tight. These ones always want to loosen up, so if they get too loose, then they don't cut very well. All right, now we need to fold it in half, and so I'm just going to start working it here in the middle. Again, I'm watching out for those sharp edges. Don't want to go to the emergency room tonight. Just kind of working that fold in there. Little by little, you don't have to go, not in a big hurry. If you don't get it exactly right, it's pretty easy to adjust and change for later. Okay, I bring my two halves together. Now I'm really only interested in, getting it tight on the one side because the other side's going to get rolled. So let me measure that again, where my roll cut needs to be. So I'm going into the hole, see how deep it is. Then I'm marking it here. in. That's where it's going to roll to, so I'll mark it there. Just like that. Can you see all that? Now I'm going to cut it down here, cut both pieces at once. I'm going to take it up to just where it starts to curve. I don't want to go too far because that'll compromise the strength. So I'm going to just snip it up like this to right about there. Okay. And then that becomes the place where we wrap. Need to get my needle nose pliers. So this side gets the little curl here. Just working it around. Kind of patient with it. Well, that one's being a little stubborn. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to widen this part out over here because I can bend it back again. That's the blade side. There it is. Now see, I'm just kind of rolling it into a tube here. Just bit by bit. I'm going to roll the other side around. Now this side here gets kind of crimpy and ugly, but when you roll the other side you can actually make that look a little nicer. Still on camera. There it is. Now I'm going to test fit this in a second. And if it's too big, then I'll just work it around like this and keep crimping it up smaller and smaller. If it's too small, I can do the same thing, go on the inside and just start uncrimping it a little bit until it fits tightly into the little shape, the hole that I have cut. So there we go, that's that part of it. Let's see how it fits. Oh, it looks like it's going to fit really well. Okay, well it doesn't usually work out so easy. It must just be because I'm doing this video. Anyway, I can take that and just push it down in there. Okay, and I'm going to pull my blade back together like that. the next thing is to try to cut this shape. Now this one here, what I like about this nib is that it comes to a point, it's still wide enough to hold a good amount of ink so that you can write for a long time, but it comes down to a nice little thin point so that you can actually use it almost like a regular ball pen. So I want to kind of duplicate that shape a little bit. So I'll just kind of look at it here. Maybe I'll mark it for the sake of doing it. If you're going to err, make sure that you err on the side of cutting it too big, because you can always cut it a little smaller. But if you get it too small, you can't make it bigger. So that's kind of close. We're going to do the fine adjusting with sandpaper. But let's go ahead and cut that off now. See that pencil line? Yeah. I'm going to start here in the corner. I'm just going to take an easy sweep all the way through both sides, over, and then off. And then I'm going to cut back this way here so that we don't have that sharp edge to deal with. Just going to dress that up. And there we go. How's that? Now, of course, this is going to write terrible because of the roughness of this edge. That's never going to work. So what we need to do is go over here with our sandpaper and just start smoothing. Now, both of these need to be the same. They need to have no burrs on them, and they need to not have a little edge right here. Like right now with my finger, I can feel the edge of where it was cut. This side's smooth because that was that side of the shoes. This other side here is just kind of torn and ugly. Now that's going to snag on your paper and make it really hard to write. So I'm just going to work this like this. Get that edge off of there. We need to prop this up a bit. Let's see. There goes my camera. All right, we're back. Yeah, I need to take that edge off, so I think what I'll do is I'm just going to use this box to bring that up so I can have the angle here. I'm going to work this sideways. I'm not really sanding this side of it, just that edge. And the edge is starting to, the burr is coming off the edge. And then there's not really a burr on the other edge. Feels better. Sorry about this video quality here. It is what it is. If I can hire a production team, I guess we'll do better videos. All right. So I'm just going to work now on making both of these lines, both edges of this knife smooth so that when I write with it, I'm kind of taking an angle here a little bit to get to a nice point. It's already a lot smoother. Need to work on this back part. So I'm just working on this edge here. Yeah. There we go. Can you see how smooth that is now? Well, I suppose I could probably still cut myself on here if I tried, but it's much more manageable now. Still a little ugly here and there. Probably take a emery board to it a little later and see if I can smooth out some of that. Kind of don't like the way that that's sticking up. Looks a little better. That's mostly cosmetic. It doesn't really affect how it writes. Okay. Now it's a little crooked. Try to straighten it out. Everything's adjustable. The brass is pretty soft. So yeah. Now there's some more refinement that I can do to this and really make it look better. It's picked up a couple of scratches in the process of making it, so if I was making it for the Queen of England or something, I'd probably want to buff it out and put a little polish on it. But these are tools to be used, so I don't really care how they look so much as long as they function properly. All right. I think I can actually give that a go. So, there we go. Test run. How about some blue? Blue ink. Give it a dip. Do some small, fast writing. And we can also do some big sideways strokes. Let's see how that goes. Maybe we can get more. There it is. Yeah, this is definitely more of a wedge, this blade. So it does a finer stroke, which is actually what I wanted it to be. So we still have our thick this way and our thin that way. And I'm going to call it a success. Thanks for watching.